Alright guys, I'm going to show you a quick fix for the power steering on these things. So when I first got this car, it was making a whining sound and I was worried that it might be the transmission, and I was like, well, hopefully it's just the power steering. And it did end up being the power steering. I mean, you can see it's all gunky, so I was like, okay, well, it's definitely been leaking some, and my fluid was just low. Now, which I believe it was about the minimum mark, but as I've learned over the years, some cars, if it's on the minimum mark, it might not actually be enough, and you can be sucking air into the system. So I topped it off when I first got it, and then the whining noise stopped. So I was like, all right, great. Looked into it a little bit. This freaking O-rings up in here leak and can cause that. So it's been fine for, well, honestly, all year since I topped it up. But I recently moved it, putting in my new alternator here. And then in the process of moving it and all that and just wiggling everything, it decided it wanted to start sucking air in again. And where mine is, you can see, and this is usually where it happens on this front side here. You can see all that fluid there. The O-ring inside fails, and it's sucking in air through there. And it's so bad, like I have intermittent power steering. It works sometimes it doesn't. It's whining the whole time. It looks like frothy freaking chocolate milk coming out every time I shut off the car. It pukes it out. It's all airy and foamy because it's getting way too much air in there. And the thing I thought was weird, I was like, oh, okay, it's missing the bolt. There's one up here and one not down there. And then I realized it's not missing a bolt. And I looked up the others. That's the way it's supposed to look. So I don't know why Honda did that. I don't know if there's off of another car, maybe it has a piece to where it actually utilizes both of those holes with two bolts like it freaking should. But I can actually grab this. Yeah, I think you guys can actually see it. And this thing's tight as crap because I've already tried to take it off once. I'm gonna have to get a real good socket on there, 6-point. So even though it's super freaking tight, because it's only held on with one end by design, it actually allows this to wiggle a little bit. Pay close attention. I'm gonna pull up and down on it. You should be able to see the fluid right there moving when I do it. So see what I mean? So that's a freaking problem. So replacing this might fix it, if you can get a new one and not a used one. So it's possible the plastic, flexed, warped over time, and that's why it's not sealing correctly, or that might be normal and it could just be the O-ring. So we're going to try the O-ring, and in most cases the O-ring fixes the problem. But I did see a complete metal unit. I'm probably going to do it at a later point. I'm just trying to get this fixed real quick because it's the middle of winter right now. We have some nice days. So I'm going to try the O-ring real quick and see if that'll solve it for now. But I'm probably eventually going to do that metal upgrade. So obviously the metal one's not going to flex or change shape or anything like that. So that will probably be an upcoming video. Now I'll have a link in the description to these O-rings here. But the interesting thing is these fit various different Honda models. But for the RSX specifically, I believe it was 02 to 04. Both these rings fit. This little orange one is what's going to go on the front here. But after 04, and this is of course just happens to be an 05, your back one here does not fit. But clearly I do not have a leak there anyways, and wouldn't you know it, that's because this one has two freaking bolts. So this one usually doesn't leak anyways. It's almost always that front one because of that single bolt design, which is retarded again. So it shouldn't be a concern anyways. If I can ever find them, I looked at a ton of them, and they all say, oh yeah, 02 to 04 RSX, you can use both, but 05 and later, you can only use the front one. And I looked and looked and looked, and so far I've not been able to find a kit that covers the 05 and the 06 model. But if I do, I'll add that to the description as well. But I'll link these for now. Like I said, you can use the front one, but not the rear, not for the 05 and 06. If you have a 02, 03, 04, then you're good and you can use both of them. So I'm going to pop this guy off real quick, show you the O-ring, we'll swap it out, and then I'm going to start her up and be topping her off, and hopefully that'll fix it for now. But that's your quick fix. If you're having power steering issues and getting air in there and all that, make sure you're topped off first. But 90% of the time it's the freaking O-ring here. You get the leak right there, and I suppose these can probably crack over time as well. So I guess to do it properly, I mean, you can buy this whole unit, just replace everything with a new hose and get a new fitting. I mean, you'll pay out the butt from Honda for that, but I'm doing just the O-ring. It's just a few bucks to see if that'll Band-Aid fix it for now, and then I'm definitely going to upgrade that later to that metal elbow, so it would no longer have that concern. Alright, there's with off. You really want to try not to let it drip on your alternator, especially if it's brand new like mine, but mine has already been drenched from fighting this problem over the last few times I drove it. So the gasket should slide up to there. Ours is still down in there. You should be able to see it there. The old one is black, so I might have to get my, I might have to get my pick to get it out, but there it is. So the red one's the replacement, like I said. I don't know that it would really make a difference, but I'm going to get some paper towels and soak that up until it's below where the gasket would set. But I mean, it's either going to work or it's not. And like I said, mine, even with this being tight, I noticed that the plastic was flexing when I would pull on it. So it may not work for me, but if it doesn't work for me due to that plastic flexing, it'll probably work for you. Like I said, most guys fix it this way. That's usually the culprit if you're getting air in your system and you can't find a leak or anything, because it's sucking it in right there past that that bad O-ring. So hopefully it'll work for me too, but I'm a little concerned because like seeing that plastic flex when I pull up on it a little bit, so I'm not 100% sure. I might have to replace my elbow there. Now obviously if it keeps leaking on me, I could, you know, if I didn't want to buy a new elbow or whatever, I could try to put some gasket maker on there or whatever, but we'll see what happens here. So, and again, everyone's situation might be different because I think that plastic's warped or something. Anyways, there's the new one. So slide it up like that and we'll pop her in. Tighten it back down. And yeah, my plastic still flexes, and I'm trying to show you this, but yeah, like down here you can even kind of see the gap. So it's like snug up here and then it gaps out. And then look, I'm wiggling it. Pay attention right there. You see what I mean? You can see it moving. So it's not, you know, I don't think it's getting a good tight seal over here because the freaking bolt's up here and there's not a bottom one to, you know, pull it on. So like I said, you might need some gasket maker if it still doesn't work, but I'm probably going to upgrade this to the metal elbow in a future video, like I said. But see if this works for now. And then to burp the system here, obviously you want to make sure you got plenty of fluid. I'm a little over full there. This line's your full, that one's the minimum. Take your cap off and start it up. It should suck some down, and you're just going to turn your steering wheel from lock to lock all the way back and forth several times, and it should pull fluid down to replace the air in your system, and you might have to do it a few times and all that. And that's it. No more air in the system. Been driving around for a few weeks and she's good to go. So again, link in the description for those little O-ring set there if you need to get you some. If this video helped you out, be sure to leave me a like. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one.